It's May. Millions of college students are running on caffeine and stress, staring down the barrel of final exams and term papers. To submit those papers, they rely on one platform, Canvas. But right in the middle of finals week, that platform went completely dark. On Thursday, May 7th, students trying to access their course dashboards didn't see their study guides. Instead, they were staring at a ransom note from the extortion group known as ShinyHunters. The outage instantly paralyzed some of the world's most prestigious academic institutions. At Duke University, the sudden digital blackout meant exams couldn't be administered, and coursework was frozen in place. Across the country at the University of Pennsylvania, the story was exactly the same. The lockout was inescapable. This diagram illustrates the sheer scale of the collapse. When that central node went down, over 9,000 schools and an estimated 275 million users were simultaneously locked out. Universities worldwide had to abruptly cancel or delay their final exams. By turning the global academic infrastructure into a targeted hostage site, ShinyHunters demonstrated the extreme vulnerability of funneling millions of students through a single central point of failure. The collapse didn't actually start in May. Instructure, the parent company of Canvas, first detected quiet, unauthorized activity deep in their systems back on April 29th. Forensic investigators followed the digital footprints and traced the intrusion to a specific weak point, Canvas's free-for-teacher accounts. The hackers used that small opening to pry open the main network. This is the centralization trap. Canvas is the core node for thousands of academic tools. Breaching that center point bypasses the entire network security. Hackers didn't need to breach universities individually. Compromising that single point granted simultaneous access to massive interconnected data systems across campuses. Centralized platforms offer incredible convenience for schools, but when that monopoly is breached, the cost is a catastrophic, system-wide failure. After locking the doors, ShinyHunters issued their demands. They instructed affected institutions to contact them privately on the Talks messaging platform to negotiate a settlement by the end of the day on May 12th. If the schools missed the deadline, the group threatened to leak highly sensitive user data. We're talking about names, emails, student ID numbers, course schedules, and even private messages. That personally identifiable information, or PII, carries massive weight. If that data goes public, universities and Instructure face devastating financial penalties and severe legal exposure under state privacy laws. Administrators are now weighing whether their cyber insurance policies will cover a quiet ransom payment. There is recent precedent for this. In January, the K-12 educational software company PowerSchool admitted to paying hackers after a similar breach. As the deadline looms, institutions like the University of Toronto have been forced into full crisis mode, rapidly pushing out communications and advising students to log out while weighing their grim options. These schools are entirely cornered. They have to decide between funding a criminal enterprise or enduring the reputational and legal ruin that comes with exposing their students' personal data. Even when the platform is technically restored, campus IT departments can't just flip a switch and turn Canvas back on. Standard cybersecurity protocol requires them to assume that any internal systems connected to the platform are also infected. That initiates a grueling, methodical recovery process. Security teams may have to manually shut down, inspect, and clean individual connected computers across campus, an ordeal that could cripple normal operations for up to a month. To contain the spread, places like the University of Chicago proactively disabled their Canvas pages entirely. Students and professors were forced to awkwardly shift their end-of-year assignments over to email and Microsoft Teams. The danger extends far beyond the campus network. Those exposed student IDs and email addresses provide hackers with the exact ingredients needed to craft highly convincing, targeted spear phishing attacks. We are already seeing these attacks in the wild. At Northwestern University, students reported receiving emails with malicious links that perfectly mimicked legitimate messages from university administrators. While the immediate scheduling chaos will eventually subside, the leaked records leave millions of students facing a permanent structural threat to their digital identities. If you go to one of the 9,000 affected schools, your first step is extreme caution. Scrutinize every single incoming email, especially those that look like urgent IT alerts or administrative updates. You need to immediately update your passwords. Change the login credentials for your student portal, your university email, and any connected third-party platforms you use for coursework. Next, turn on two-factor authentication everywhere you can. When an attacker has your password, 2FA acts as a mandatory second layer of defense, physically requiring your phone to grant access. Because your personally identifiable information may be out there, you also need to think outside the university ecosystem. Consider freezing your credit with the major bureaus to block anyone from opening unauthorized financial accounts in your name. For the institutions themselves, the takeaway is clear. Universities must urgently diversify their software infrastructure to eliminate these massive centralized points of failure. The illusion that multi-billion-dollar ed-tech monopolies are impenetrable is gone. Until the infrastructure improves, students have to act as their own digital bodyguards. And while you're at it, use this leverage to demand a generous grading curve on those